Thank you, everybody, for joining us on Quantum Healing today. My name is Melanie, and today we have another amazing guest for you today. Her name is Viviane Chauvet. She is the founder of the Octurian University and Universal Community Octurian Ambassador. She is a cosmic teacher and international speaker. She has many great workshops and classes, but today we wanted to deep dive further into the energies that we're shifting through at the moment. So let's introduce Viviane now. How are you doing today, Viviane?
Oh, thank you so much, Melanie, to inviting me to be here with you on Quantum Healing today. It's always a joy to see you.
Yes, it's such a joy to see you as well. And I feel very connected with you on a very personal and soulful level. And so we're reuniting here in this place and time, which makes it very special for us. So thank you.
Oh, of course, anytime. When you extend an invitation, of course, I said yes to you right away. And, I remember when we were on, I think was it on the Alaska seminar at sea, and you had a vendor table with all of your beautiful offerings. And then Peter, my husband, had his table not too far from you, and then being able to communicate and exchange on a different level. So being at sea, especially in the ocean grids and the energy of Alaska, that was last September 2024. So I just want to mention that it was really a beautiful time with you.
Yes, thank you. It was very spiritual being on that with the ocean and the water and with as much traveling as you do, being a grid worker that you are. So let's talk more about what you do and what we can expect, especially if someone's never heard of you or familiar with your work. We definitely want to embrace that as well.
Thank you for asking. It's a beautiful way to, I would say, open the field of our time together and feel the energy. So I am an Octurian being. I have returned on the planet in a human hybrid form. So physically, my physical body was engineered by the high technology and the consciousness of the Octurians. Others have also helped. We know that the Andromedan help us in this endeavor, and the Lyrans as well. So the point I'm here on the planet is very much as an ambassador. Think of it this way, I am a frequency and I help to ignite positive changes and profound transformation in people's life, deep to help everybody to fulfill and realizing your soul blueprint, who you are. And so overall, I was sent to the planet to help to oversee this earth. Gaia has the consciousness of the earth to return to her ascended self. So we're here to help not only this world, this planet, but also this solar system to shift out of the artificial time construct or the linear time construct, releasing ourselves from these artificial aspects, almost like a generated matrix of a certain reality. And we're helping you to return into a more universal realignment. And really, it's about bringing in a new harmonics of teachings and wisdom and frequencies alignment. Because our turns, we are known as a very, very ancient, very advanced, and enlightened intergalactic groups. We are one of the most advanced and ancient ones that's been around for a long time. So we are architects of masteries of light. We really are engineers of light frequencies. And so as diplomats and ambassadors, we work a lot with a vast region of the multiverse. We work with many, many, many star regency councils, alliances, including also the alliances, the Galactic Council of Ambassadors and scientists. Like for example, with Kim Jim, some the Taurus constellation, working with my friend David, and then we work together. We bring messages. We understand what is it we're shifting into. And one thing is going to be important, Melanie, and everyone watching, is releasing ourselves from the overexcitement or technology induced distractions, and to feel that it almost like triggers something at that level. It really tone down the natural psychic or intuitive abilities that we have. We're no longer spending so much time understanding the mechanism within yourself. And instead is nose deep in the cell phone or the tablet. You don't want to miss what's been going on in Facebook, scrolling down to see what is the next post or the next excitement. So we call that technology information corruption induced energies. And that's part of the message that is representative from the Taurus constellation, representing the advanced scientists world, and that we also collaborate with, have been observing, and they've been asking me to talk about this more. So since you are yourself also a representative from aspect of the intergalactics, beautiful star seed yourself, I feel like it would be a great platform to introduce that and to be able to turn away to bring back a sacred divine balance in our lives and teaching the next generations, even if you have children in their 20s, even mid 20s, 17, 18, 20, 26, 28, or even younger, they are really caught up in that net of induced overstimulations of technology and is no longer present. I mean, I see on the streets or at the market, at airport or conferences, people walking and their nose stuck to the phone because they want to know what's going on Instagram. How big, how many hits did I get on my post? It is truly irrelevant. If we use those tools just to communicate something profound, to inspire, to announce something that, okay, well, you have to use all these so-called technological advancement in social media ways in a very higher discernment. And that discernment is going to be very important to understand what physical shift is going on in the grid system, in the Schumann resonance of the planet, the electromagnetic field, how the solar system is moving out of dimensional shift. There's a compression, extension going on. We're moving in and out of dimensional shifts. What does it do? What is it implied? What is this about? But you need to be present and to be receptive to understand what these frequency changes are really truly about. So that's one thing that we felt that is very important. And that, again, that part of the messages I just shared come from the Galactic Council of Scientists, who has instructed the true ambassadors on the planet like myself to say, so wait a second here, you are giving your power away from one source, you claim your sovereignty, you want to be free, you want to be, enlightened in all of it, but you redirected, you meaning humanity overall, there's no one to the finger here, but overall, people have redirected their power and their authority to technology. Oh, the next med beds, the next technology, the infrared or this cube emanating, radiation or whatever signal, and it's supposed to be super awesome for your subconscious. And we go, oh, so much induced distractions and there's so many corruption at that level. So feeding your mind with overflowing of information has nothing to do with being enlightened or being informed or to make contact or to understand all the subtleties in between under the distinction of what making contact really is about is the cultivation of your own natural ability. And the question we have is how familiar overall people are who are their extrasensory abilities. Oh, I have an app that tells me frequencies. I don't need any app to tell me when my frequency is. I can tell myself, right? Makes sense to you. I know it makes sense to you, Melanie.
Yes, it completely makes sense. And you're right. We have to bring this unconscious act of what we're doing each day to the conscious. And if people can understand that we are already advanced technological creatures and beings, they would probably start to use their own programming more. But that's the thing, they are disconnected from their own programming and they're looking outwards, right, for these dopamine hits or for these answers that are already within themselves, right? And so, how can someone I guess, bring that unconscious to the conscious so they can start awakening themselves?
That's a great question. So simple step by observing, how are you communicating? What way of communications are you having? Like, for example, even in your household with your spouse, your kids, friends, neighbors, loved ones, how are you communicating? It's returning into more organic communication, taking the time like you and I are doing, inspiring everyone watching right now, and everyone will be discovering this interview and it's going to be spread everywhere. That's because we're returning into more the essential of livings, and something that the Octurians and I have been talking a lot about. It's rediscovering what the sacred art of being a human being is really about. Is that the human race has been so, how could I say that, exposed to different variations of who they are, whether it's, from slavery through Renaissance to discovering like technology and then creating cars, and then you have different phase of history that move through and then they have shifted a certain level of evolution. Yes, okay. Modern time with buildings and sophistication and all of this. But if you look just across Asia overall, like China and other place, we can see that the focal point, it seemed to us, is so on performance, high level, these protocol of high maintenance performance, behavioral patterns, technological advancement, making it more and more and more, creating artificial life. And we said, what is the fascination? Because you're completely subscribing, you're releasing, you're subtracting the true essence of who you are at the profit of creating, very advanced or super tall building and super advanced, laser beam that shoot from the sky and they create a beautiful show. And we go, okay, it's visually appealing, but is there substance behind it? How is it improving a society? How is it bringing people together? How is it sustaining the true aspect of communication between generations, for one thing, with each other? Communicating also with your body intelligence, understanding your soul language, understanding the language of the supreme part of you on a divine level, call your higher self, or even beyond that, your oversoul. Are you understanding your soul ancestry? How your tree of life that you brought in this lifetime is part of your soul blueprint? How are you tuning into that to understand really who you are? What is my purpose? Who am I? What are my gifts? It's all encoded in you. You brought that with you prior to this incarnation. So I took Asia as an example of complete heart disconnect into very mental mind. But the mind and the heart are sacred interface that must be connected. One cannot function, cannot be without the other, but the heart energy will lead the way. But then we can't create conflict because the mind will create loops. And at this connect, it's what start to feel that you start on your path and you feel, whoop, you're deviating. What's happening? Where am I? I'm disconnected. Where you have to look where the disconnect within yourself, where the disconnect around you on a societal level, a cultural level, and mindset. So there's a lot of these old structures we're seeing right now. When we talk about planetary shifts, there's more than one shift. It's multiple shifts. They're going to go in and out like a gentle wave moving in. Think of it as the Schumann resonance constantly move and has this movement. It's natural. The movement of the plasma energy, the sun, the frequencies, the realignment. We're moving out of certain construct. So there's a lot going on, but at the same time is returning to the essential. If you relate too much on technology to bring answers, then you're feeding what's called the middle timeline. And the middle timeline is what it seems seemingly pull us in, wants to bring you back in with that large aspect of information disruptions, and there's corruption with there's some information that seems appealing, but there's a lot of corruption behind it. And so where do you stand? If you look at how place in the world, again, like Asia, there's a major hard disconnect with life, with life. So if there's a disconnect at that level, how can you co-create other aspect of artificial life? It will only represent that expansion or represent an aspect of that disconnect within you. You can't even recognize animal as sentient beings, then why are you creating artificial life? To us, it's the opposite. It's a reversal of approaching ascension. Reascending, it's the most natural thing. It's a very organic, natural, very natural process. But because of these layers of distraction and technology and then mixing conflictual information, sometimes put on purpose to confuse the mind and disconnect people and create dissonance even on a cognitive level, that you get lost in translation. This is why we say we need to return to the essential. Connect to yourself, connect to your heart, watch how you say it, how you communicate. You're taking the time to speak, share the frequency, share your energy with others rather than relying on technology all the time. And right now, even though we're on Zoom, we're using some kind of technology, we're using in a conscious way to create that positive environment where we are sharing a lot of frequencies. So this is more than a dialogue or an interview. It's an exchange of frequencies at the same time. I'm sure you must be feeling it.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. And I would like to also reflect, yes, we are going through this ripple of time right now. We're collapsing timelines, not just within ourselves, but on a collective level.
Yeah.
And the more that we are each stepping in and up to our authentic true path and purpose, then this is how we connect with ourselves. This is how we connect with one another. And for those who have felt alone or who have felt unheard or unseen, stepping into your power and in that authenticity is where you find your purpose and even home away from home, right? Because we feel we don't belong here, but we are here temporarily. And so this year, the year of the snake, right? We're all shedding and going through this movement of self-transformation and collective transformation. And so I guess my next question is, or thing I'd like to point out is, how can we not be involved in the game so much, but become more of an observer so that we can move forward more gracefully without judgment or ego of our own false programming or others' false programming that might seem confusing.
One of the things we always talk about and encourage people is what's called practicing divine neutrality. So when you are an observer, it's just the act of observing, you are shifting, you are influencing the energy of what's happening. So there's a distinction of utilizing certain semantics and understanding what those semantics really means today. So being an observer may have different meaning depending on the filtering, the belief system, the alignment, the conscious understanding of what it is. So observing shift and movement around you, you're still influencing by your presence. So it's about really what kind of inner dialogue also are you entertaining. So let's say you can be observing a scene, but your field is so overly bombarded with thoughts, emotion, your field become overly saturated. So those will be transported or sent out, whether you're conscious or unconscious about it. So it's more of being a conscious observer of what is it you're observing about. And at the same time, you can ask to your higher self and connecting also to the quantum field of unified awareness, what I'm observing about, and as an observer, can I bring either more light? Can it be an anchor of light? Can I help to shift the energy in a way that serves the highest and the greatest good of all? And there's a time where you'll know when it's a time to take an action, a time to observe, a time to meditate, a time to speak up. But speaking up also, that's another whole ball game, because again, Opening your throat chakra of communication is part of the healing of the wounds for humanity. Throat chakra, expression, solar plexus, and heart energy. Just those 3 points alone, there's a lot of movement. But after time, if those points reopen and there's a reactivation at those level, but also a misunderstanding or a misrecognition of what those 3 points are really about, you can say, well, I speak my truth now. But what you're doing is pushing anger, resentment, wound, sadness, and grief. For example, is I speak my truth from a point where I am really in alignment with who I am. So we need to go back to the very basics, the very essential basic. We talked about that before, 3 simple keys: complete self-love, complete self-acceptance, and complete self-worth. Those 3 keys are beyond being a spiritual cliche or metaphysical, for books and meditation and classes. Those 3 keys, part of your self-mastery. And the mastery, the word self, is the bridge that helps you remember that of your inner master, because you are first and foremost an internal being of light. So that fractal of you interacting in this identity, that's where you need to understand that the word self mastery, that's the self realize the return to the part of the master that you are. But again, without those 3 keys, just through seemingly very simple and yet super potent keys, now the accessibility of that self mastery become a reality, a tangible reality you can apply to everything in life, even in time of conflict, even a time of misunderstanding, a time of grief, a time of rejoice, a time of celebration. And
Yes,
it's
yes.
really essential, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. And I actually want to also reflect this year, 2025, is, of course, the year of the snake, which symbolizes transformation and spiritual growth, and which also means the nine, it's a number of ending. And so as we're stepping through this transformation, for some reason, I feel compelled to bring up the Kundalini and how that is also in connection with symbolizing the snake. And so, do you have a perspective on the Kundalini energy through this time, if that's something that needs to be pointed out?
It's big to take with a grain of salt. I know that in yoga practices and, certain guru practice and all of it, and we respect that, but without putting too much emphasis on that. It's not about Kundalini is just simply really the realization of that energy flow, what we call spinal flow, and that reopening of reconnections that allow you to naturally opening your universal connections and understanding also your connection to the planet. So there is this interconnection. So again, there's a lot of these concepts have been introduced for generations now, whether back in the 70s and then 80s and even before that or not, moving on. And also those popular terms have returned in the global consciousness of humanity, and these words have been accepted now. But for us, relating snake with Kundalini, it's an image, it's a figure of speech, it's a metaphor. So that's one thing that leads up to another subject for us, is allowing yourself to loosen up the attachments of some of these metaphors and more understanding how this flow of fluid movement or spinal flow can really interconnect all the interdimensional interfaces that coexist as well with those internal vortexes in yourself, how your body system works, how your body intelligence respond to these vibrational and frequency movement and shifts that you can interpret it as. But again, they are metaphors. And we see that a lot even to, just like in Egypt or ancient sacred site, where there's a lot of metaphors that was there to as a placeholder of understanding more ancient concept. And after time, what it does, it's been interpreted literally. Whether it was the Garden of Eden, or it was Adam and Eve, and it was the snake, and there was this. we understand those are metaphors, they're figure of speech. And so it will help also on a higher mental faculty level. There's a rising, there's an opening beyond the 3D logic, what we call the 3D guardian, and the 3D logic, or known as the ego. We call it the 3D guardian. So we go passing that, and we allowing the release of the original functions of that guardian of the 3D logic mind. You start to realize that you're opening your field to cosmic intelligence or your higher mental intelligence. And that is really bringing the alignment with the interface of the heart energy, the very center of your being, and start to understand all of these teachings, metaphors, symbolism. Everything has been written about, even to ancient texts and Sanskrits and languages and depiction. You start to understand them on a whole different level. So that's why for us, we have a different perspective on that other form of evolution. It's all about evolution. I hope that resonates with you.
Yes, yes, it definitely does. And so let's look at evolution, if that's what you'd like to do. We can look at how can we embrace the human experience as we fall through this evolutionary cycle, which we can't control, right? Everything is a cycle, everything's a pattern, and it's beyond us at this point. So how can we kind of just fall into place and allow?
There's nothing to control. And yes, you are an intricate part of it. You have all of mastery in it. That's more the reverse. It's a reversal of a thought system that, oh, this is bigger than me, or I cannot do anything about this, or I have to be, sometimes feel like I'm at the mercy of these changes. In reality, it's the opposite, is the influence on the global planetary level. All of these thought form, the energy, the way we think, the way we sustain, the way we maintain realities, the way we project these reality, the one we want to take control of how these realities are being manifested, you do influence the change. You are influencing how you're responding to the changes. You are influencing your own self or how you're responding to Gaia or the earth change. So what we say is, instead, recognize the authority that you truly have, recognize the power of your thought forms, because thoughts are forms in action, as we know. Recognizing also, again, how you can filter or refine the quality of those thought forms with a more positive, emotional, sustained energy, and how it reflects in your communication. So start to feel that what people overall, when they say you, it's overall humanity, right? It's human beings overall, everyone on the planet, is when you communicate, whether it's you sending an email to someone, whether you want to inquire a questions, whether you are thinking about what that change represent for you, pay attention. What is the energy that I'm feeling behind that intention or behind that message? So we call it a refinement of the communication field on the planet. We start to get more in tune to understand deeper, refined semantics of words, expression, symbology, decoding of ancient languages, tone, sounds, vibrations, all of this. The more everyone, imagine for a moment, if just half the population on the planet, regardless of your physical age, regardless of your cultural background, just half the population every day apply themselves to live in the integrity and the authenticity of the true power of who they are in the light. Communication, thought forms, emotion, projection of energies, projection of fear versus projection of joy, projection of energetic aspect that comes from your field, and everything that you emanate and radiates every single day. Well, we can have a complete different dialogue about what evolution would look like.
Right.
It really is. But we need to bring these essential topics. And this is no longer just about decoding the galactic archives and talking about a history of a gazillion intergalactic groups. Yes, it's exciting. Yes, we can learn more about those cosmic origins and how our roots affect us. Absolutely. But in addition, this is just 1/3 of the equation. The rest is really about you walk the walk, you need to talk the talk. If you talk the talk, you walk the walk. You have to implement, embody, and become more of this conscious human being. It really is part of it. And that is supporting directly all of the changes we're shifting into. My Octurian delegation always says, you have a choice. You can scream, kick, cry, make it very difficult, and yet changes will happen either way. Or you can tune in and allow yourself to be more in tune with those changes. Either way, the end result is change. Is how you experience change that will make a difference for you and everybody else on the planet. So we are very much at that point of conscious recognition. We need to implement we need to implement that more and more rather than just talk about it, or watching a gazillion of videos and then scrolling down to see, whoa, this one has a lot of followers, a lot of talk about this, there must be something there for me. Tune in, understand the wisdom. If you like someone, you like the energy of somebody, then be involved, be engaged. Engagement, be responsible, be present, make the conscious choice. It's about choosing. I'm choosing this path and I am being faithful to it, instead of running away at first sight of challenges or change. And the mind get distracted and then you get caught up in that swirl. I see that too many times, and people run away. Oh, I need to be on my own, I need to disconnect, I'm going to be my own master. Well, that's what we've been talking about. For you to be your own master, you don't need to be isolated to be your own master. There's no need to run away and hide in order to figure things out. This is more of a 3D fearful path. That's why everything at this point make a huge difference. And I see the colliding of realities every day. And there's too many projection of my reality, your reality, their reality, this channel reality, this person interpretation of what the CERNs are or what the galactic is, and then it's all over meshed. So where are you in all of this? And then when someone speaks from wisdom, from heart energies, from love, from ancient wisdom, the voice being toned down because there's too much noise. So we are at that point of making the difference. Allow yourself to use that higher discernment. Is, am I caught up in the noise thinking this is what information and what spirituality is about? If that is your choice, we respect that. But we can tell you that there are other ways. Oh, I hope that answered the questions.
Yes, it did. It did. Taking responsibility, we have to take responsibility for our own consciousness and choices over, projection and, reaction at this point. And I really think embodying our own acceptance and discovery without judgment and ego is really important. And so that's where we can also embrace other people's perspectives, because it is also our perspective, whether we realize it or not. And so I think just pushing those limits and the envelope of stepping outside of oneself and stubborn consciousness can do quite a big deal. And so you want to speak about a memorial or remembrance of someone. Would you like to start there?
Yes, thank you, Melanie, and you're correct. It's all about perspective. At what level, what we always say, what part of you that perspective come from, that will also make an impact. Yes, memorial, a dedication, a tribute to someone who I feel sometimes may have felt diminished or undervalued for the large contribution that this person has made over a span of 45 years of dedication, a light, a beacon of connections to the Venusian with Venus and these beautiful Venusian people. Many of you may remember him. His name is Rob Potter. Rob Potter was very dedicated to his work, both in the UFO and the spiritual aspects. He was very well known for his summer conference in Mount Shasta, California, especially when he used to be in the city park. And many people will come from everywhere, and they were vendors. We were all in the park under the pines and do lectures and panels and talking about, different masters, and with his friend Dr. Keller. And the last time we were there, we also had Omnek, this beautiful lady from Venus who were there with us. So we just learned that his soul has returned to the realm of light. He has left the physical experience and his soul has come to a full completion. He must be surely in the embrace of the Venusian council, and of course, celestial beings. So we just want to really honor this beautiful soul, Rob Potter. He has made a huge contribution. Sometimes felt controversial, sometimes felt in different ways. But you know what? All the ripple effects that he had created over 45 years of research plus, I made a difference and touched lives of a lot of people. And I had a joy to work with them very closely for a number of years. And I wish to hold him in the light, and I wish to understand and remembering the true essence of who he was. Sometimes people come in your life and they look like a little bit of an unpolished diamond, a bit rough on the edges, right? But if you look deeper and you connect, you can see the true essence of who they are. And that's what I choose to remember Rob as, is the spark of his diamond light, so to speak. And so I just thank you for allowing us to give this tribute, as he just left for us in linear time, just left the physical realm. And now he's moving on and being able to work and doing all kind of different work and contribution and whatever his soul evolution needs him to do. So I just want to honor him and everyone's life he touched, including his friends, families, people he work with, all the volunteers that do the AV technical part of the conference, whether it's sound and videos and setting up chairs, and the vendors area, and of all the ups and downs. At the end of the day, it's the light and the love that we share that matter the most. Yes, and so it is. And
So it
so it
is.
is. So thank you,
Thank you.
Melanie.
Yes, I had some confirmations as you were speaking about him. I felt him here with us, and he kept saying his work is not done, so he might be gone from here, but he's still going to help us in this realm.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Thank you. Thank you. See how gifted you are, Melanie. You're incredible. You're very
Oh,
gifted. You are. You're very gifted. And I noticed, I observed, from previous, engagement with you, or observing the way you talk, or what you present, whether it's your dimensional views, quantum healing, interconnections with beings. I know you communicate a lot. Ancient Egypt. Um, you bring a lot to the table as well. And I love to recognize a gifted soul, an ancient soul, when I see one. So I'm grateful to be here with you.
well, thank you very much. I feel the same about you. And you're right. We are just ultra sensitive, hypersensitive beings, and to come into this time as representatives as we are, it can shake our own souls up a little bit. It's an integration, it's a learning curve. It's a human experience, right? So even when I do paperwork, I'm like, this is out of my realm.
Oh, I'm so with you, Melanie. I mean, how many of you watching right now will be watching can relate to that. You know, the mundane seems so tedious, and the amount of details and sometimes the entanglements without behind it. But you know what? At the same time, it even us old souls and those of us who've already ascended a long time ago, and we return to the ABCs to help out, to understand with compassion, with love, with peace, with forgiveness, as my friend David would say. Um, it really is true. And because you have chosen as well, Melanie, to go back to what I call the ABCs and understanding what a human life is, all the changes and the challenges you've gone through in your life, it makes you even more, I would say, in tune, even more powerful, even more open, even more empathic, right? This
Yeah.
empathic part of ourself. And you're right, we are ultra sensitive. It
Yeah.
just, as I speak right now, I feel Rob, I feel you, I feel the presence of Gaia, I feel the presence of so many life forms.
Mhm. Yes, even those who are watching, and this is pre-recorded, so we have a linear connection on the quantum field with literally everything. And that to me is just the most beautiful thing, an experience that one can have. And I think being here on Earth, I've actually fallen in love with the human experience. It's
Oh.
like, oh, I want to come back and do this again, but maybe a little differently.
I'm very happy for you. I am grateful. I really walk in gratitude. When
Yeah.
I'm done, I'm going back to the Octurus realm and I'm going to move on from there. I
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And that's also why I feel like I have so much work in this lifetime. It's like, well, maybe this is my last hurrah. So we'll see what unfolds. Before we end our discussion today, is there an activation or clearing that you would like to walk us through today?
Oh, what a beautiful question. What a beautiful suggestion. I love that. I know we said something with a lot. As I'm integrating more and more and I'm returning more in my complete Octurian self, even though I still look very much human to you, which is perfect because it's easier to communicate in this form. If I, rather than to be this very tall, lanky, very much ET looking. And, some people says, oh, don't say the word ET. They don't like it. My Octurian group never complain about the word ET too much. I feel like it's my little badge of honor. Yes, I'm an ET and I'm wearing it proudly with love and kindness and respect. So that's why I like to use the word ET. Um, yes, they are. I would like to feel that energy. And sometimes as we are shifting and as this almost like metamorphosis that is taking place, allow yourself to go through that metamorphosis. Maybe soul aspect to you coming back, opening a soul akashic record, memory of aspect of you and multidimensional aspect, whether it's an aspect of an Atlantean wisdom you want to bring in, or Lemurian, or Egyptian, or from your time of Orions, because I know there's many of them on the planet, learning from what it felt like, moving out of the paradigm of war and conflict and returning in more of a paradigm of universal peace. And this is more than world peace together. We'll meditate. No, 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 no. This is deep universal peace. This is a unification of all life. This is very deep. And I feel like I'm becoming more like a grandmother in that way, that energy of being an elder, but because I am an elder in my Octurian form, so I can feel I'm going back and I'm embodying that role more and more as the cosmic teacher, and eventually I'm going to be returning completely to my ambassadorial role, and I can feel that. So I honoring myself, and I'm as I knowing you. So our dialogue, our messages will change to sustain more from where we are, and we need to allow yourself to go deeper in our communication. So let's do this together. If you would please, feet on the ground as much as you can. Yes, you can be in a lotus position. It's very effective as well. Just roll your shoulders, just gently opening the flow, even relaxing your neck, and feel to your breath. You're going to open the spinal flow, allowing this universal prana to really enter your field and your body. And with your eyes closed, taking some deep cleansing breath. Cleansing yourself also means reset. Reset to reconnect with you, reset your mind, your emotional field. I reset. Reset leads to integration. And as you breathe, allow yourself to open the flow of your sacred breath a little deeper and slower. Taking the time to slow down, it means to release yourself from the hasty pace, the act, the energy of the mental mind that is just going on and on. You're relaxing yourself from this hasty energy. Slowing down allows you to reintegrate all aspects of your energy. So imagine welcoming back all of your fractals of light, cleansed, cleared, and restored in complete alignment with your inner blueprint. And to feel you're gaining more energy, clarity, feeling your spine opening to the spinal flow, allowing this universal prana energy to flow. And allow yourself to connect to the planet. Call upon her consciousness that you know as a Gaia. Remind yourself in your heart and in your soul, I have returned for the love of Gaia. I am here to learn, to expand, to shift, to feel what it is to be in a physical form, perhaps for the first time, or perhaps for thousands of times. Allow yourself to feel, I am allowing myself to learn, experiment, gain new knowledge, true wisdom. And as you breathe and connect to the planet, at the same time your roots are solid, imagining yourself expanding your roots deep into the earth, expanding the branches of your cosmic tree of life as a symbology. This is your universal connection. Understanding truly in your heart what it feels like to be truly interconnected to yourself, to all life on the planet, and on a universal level. Remember, you are the same being, same eternal being of light, with so many lifetimes of experiences, whether as a feline being, an aquatic being, a mer people, an angelic form, a humanoid form, including being a human being on this earth. I am the same being. Just remind yourself, I am the same being, and I am embodying all that I am. Feel that for a moment. Beautiful. Let's take a deep breath and release. And gently feel that you are in complete alignment within yourself, grounded in loving presence, fully aware, fully returned. Welcome back. You can now open your eyes. Welcome back, everyone.
Oh, that was refreshing, very relaxing.
That was the goal. That was the goal. Thank you for mentioning this, Melanie. That's an aspect of experiencing our frequencies. So when we speak, especially in these transmission or the simple technique, what we do is that as many of us through our Octurian delegations will come together in a unified voice that you hear as Viviane's voice. And as the conduit we use, that's the energy. But there are many different frequencies of presence speaking with you. that allow that relaxation to go deeper, to release what needed to be released, a gentle realignment, a transformation going, wow, that was really relaxing and soothing. And see how you were before and how you are now moving forward. Remember, you are the same beings experiencing a multitude of experiences.
Yes. And if we do that every single day, if we can just do that little bit that just takes a moment every day, it makes a huge difference. Very powerful.
Exactly. It is. It is. Every single day. Well said, Melanie. Even when you have to make a decision or you've been faced in a difficult challenges situation, just alive still. Be of integrity with yourself. Always return to that inner point of connection. Where am I right now? Because it's too easy to lose ourselves. And one thing that also I like as a gentle reminder, allow yourself to keep your inner peace without so willingly to give it away on everything and everything. Whether there's a glitch on your account online or there was a double payment on your credit card, keep your inner peace. It is one of the most precious gifts you can give away. And too often time we give it away all the time like this. Like it's a disposable energy. No,
Mm.
that is part of your authentic self. It's a little just piece of pearl of wisdom right now.
Thank you so much for saying that because you're right. If we don't focus on that, keeping that handled, it can become static. And that's how our outside reflections, that's how that can show itself as static or glitches in this so-called matrix, right?
Exactly. Remember, it's all about experiences. So reset, like we just did, and ask, I am ready to now experience higher form of experiences. I am ready to welcome higher form of experiences, higher form of resolution. Bring that energy. And I do too. Believe me, I just recently went something really, really chaotic, a situation that I still need to handle. I have to do the same. I walk the walk and I talk the talk. I apply the same thing I share with everyone. So I am included in this.
Yes, thank you for sharing this human experience with us. I know we're not alone.
Oh no, far from it. You are most welcome, and thank you for sharing your experience with us as well. This is how we are. We are so interconnected. It's and when you start to feel your interconnection to the incredible diversity of ecosystems, the symbiotic energy of the ecosystems on the planet, you start to realize that what we're doing right now can influence those in Peru, and what they're doing in Peru influence those in Europe or in the UK, all the way to New Zealand. That grid's energy is one planet. It really is. And that's what Gaia told me. Everywhere I travel, she said, what do you expect? I am still Gaia.
Yes, yes, it's true. It's true. Well, thank you so much. And do you have any last message for the collective right now?
I think there's a lot we have explored today and a lot of wisdom. It's a kind of interview that has become a support system. It's a type of re-listen again and again to extract all the gems, the layers of gems and energy. And of course, with the transmission we have done, trust yourself.
Right.
Allow yourself the joy of rediscovering truly who you are. Because the intergalactic beings know who you are. The dark light polarity knows who you are. You're the only one who has very little clue about who you are. So it's a time to go back there first, and then we can talk about evolution and changes.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Vivian, for sharing your perspectives, experiences, and knowledge and wisdom on these topics as it is the time now to be speaking up more and connecting further. So I want to thank you for joining us on this podcast today. And then if you have any social medias, we will put those in the link. So if anyone wants to connect with Viviane Chauvet further in the future, you can check her out at infinitehealingfromthestars.com, where you can find healing arts programs. You can find books, documentaries, community memberships, and other events that she is hosting. And so I just want to let everyone know that, wherever you are on your awakening journey, now is the time to just embrace your full authenticity, no matter what level you are at. And so you have plenty of support system as well. So if anyone would like to connect with Viviane or myself further, you can find her at infinitehealingfromthestars.com or my website, quantumdisclosureproject.com. So I will also put those links down below for anyone else. So thank you so much, Viviane, for today. And till again, thank you everyone for joining us on Quantum Healing today.